and only allow us to use premium. So that's kind of okay then. I generally don't use premium consumables under tier 5, and I'll use premium consumables on everything over tier 5. But a lot of people won't, and it does give you a little bit of an advantage, and it's a money sink, which is one of the things that wargaming kind of like, because if you have to pay for your consumables, then it takes money out of the game, and if you don't have to pay for them, then that means more money to buy ships and stuff. I kind of don't want to make it too easy, because then, you know, if the grind takes no time at all, then why, you know, you lose the will to play. Back when I started, it probably took about 4,000 or 5,000 games before I started getting into tier 10 ships. And these days I'm seeing players with 800 battles in a tier 10 ship, and most of them aren't particularly good at it. But, that's one of the biggest issues with the matchmaker I've seen, is a lot of time. If you have a really bad game, the reason you have a really bad game is because pretty much most of the players on your team have a less than 50% win rate, and 1 or 2 players on the enemy team have a greater than 60% win rate. Those 2 players can carry a game no matter what's going on the other side. And that just gets very demoralising, because you end up just losing games because there are 1 or 2 ace players on the enemy team. And it works the same the other way. You know, you end up with the 2 60% players, and your team is most of the time going to win. I'm not that good a player. I'm better than average. Very occasionally I can carry a game, but not against the best of the best. Well, that's the thing. A cooperating division can turn the tide of a game, but if the cooperating division is 360% players, they're just going to storm the game, and there is almost nothing that the enemy team can do unless they really unless the 360% players can blow it in a big way, just make a tactically bad decision, or not even tactically bad, but they make a decision, this is how we're going to play this, and if they're unlucky enough that the enemy does the one thing that they needed to do to counter it, then there's not, sort of they can do well, but a lot of the time it's sort of, if the enemy had done anything but what they did, we would have won that one type of event. But if you coordinate well, against average players, a division can make a big difference. One of the funniest ones I've seen is the French battleship, the Leon, has 16 guns. So you get 3 players driving the Leon, and that's 48 guns, and you all pick one target, and you all fire at that one target at the same time, and he has 48 shells incoming. And that can be quite spectacular. But the other way to do it is to play complementary ships, so that each one's picking up the slack of another one. It takes some coordination. It takes practice. Okay, I think there's a patch just on the outside. I'll swing the tractor around, grab that. Divisions can definitely improve your win rates, which improves your experience earn rate. Discord. I was actually watching, I think I was watching Flambus's video the other day. He was talking about he generally plays top tier ships, high tier ships. 8, 9 and 10. Occasionally drops down to 7 and rarely plays 6s and 5s. And he says it's sort of fun to go back to 6s, 5s and occasionally 4s just to have a little bit of fun. Although it really isn't a challenge to him, because a lot of players at that skill level are just starting out, so they're still getting to grips with the game mechanics, and obviously he knows the game mechanics inside and out. So it's kind of one-sided. And the other players at that tier are the ones that have 10,000 games under their belt and only play tier 4 and 5 ships because it's just fun to kill novice players, and it's the way they get their win rates up, but they're not particularly good players. And when a particularly good player gets into a game, they tend to get killed fairly quickly because they're really not that good. They're just better than novices. Then when you get down to tier 3, it's really a crapshoot, because it doesn't really matter how good the player's skill is. The ship's hit rates and damage output is such that you win by luck rather than by skill. You can point the gun in the right direction, you can push the fire button, and you can have every shot go everywhere except. And it's frustrating, but it does mean that an experienced player is playing experience of the map and experience of game mechanic. But their damage output is really random at that tier 1, 2 and 3. At 4, guns start getting a little bit more accurate, such that your skill at the game can make a progressive difference. But tier 4 games we were playing I was playing an aircraft carrier, and I'm not particularly good at that. But I'm out of the Let's Play Patriotic Boats session, so we'll open it up to other ships next time on Friday. Now this week we've got an event going on at church, so mostly the plan is we're not going to be home until gone 8 o'clock, so any streaming I do will be closer to 9 and likely to be shorter than normal. Today we didn't go because I had a meeting at work and it ran over, and so I didn't end up leaving work until gone 5 o'clock, so I got home. Yeah, I was leaving at 5:30, so it was sort of, by the time I get home I don't have enough time to eat, freshen up and get ready to go to church, so we watch church on the computer. Because that's a thing. Oh, what'd you get on ATS2 today? Oops. Down the road in southern Germany. Oh, I had an interesting glitch in ATS during my offline time over the weekend. I was driving through Washington, going over a bridge, and next thing I knew there was nothing in front of me. The bridge did not draw. And I think it was one of the either lifting or swing bridges I was driving over, but the bridge was not there. But my truck carried on like the bridge was there, and we made it to the other side and carried on going. And sort of, well, that was surreal. Oh, 100% damage. Dang. Yeah, from what I gather, you can run with a trailer that's 100% damaged. Obviously, truck not so much, because I think after about 15%, maybe 20%, the chance of the engine failing gets progressively worse. Prior to 10%, it's negligible. You can probably keep running for the most part, but yeah, you need to keep the truck working, but the trailer you don't. You can drive around with a 100% damaged trailer. I think if the trailer's 100% damaged, I don't know that the cargo on board can get damaged. I think the trailer has to be damaged before the cargo can be damaged. As I say, I'm not 100% sure of that. But, it's kind of not something I'm planning to test. I've only just started using my own trailers. Obviously, last week's session we had the livestock trailer, personalised livestock trailer, which is the first one I've used. I did buy a cargo container frame trailer thing, whatever they're called, but I assigned that to one of my minions, so I haven't driven with it anywhere. probably windrow this in rows instead of circles. Just because in general that's easier. Circles with the mower is easy because the mower sticks out one side of the tractor. Exactly. Yeah, truck repairs on ETS are very expensive because there's no government subsidies or insurance or whatever they claim to be. Tomorrow night will be a late session of the Old Stream Farm. I'm kind of considering if I do drop any of my maps in favour of a new one, Old Stream Farm will probably be the first. Because I did play it 2 playthroughs in 17. But I need a compelling reason to do it. I've got to find a map I really like. Which I can apply some goal to. You know, Old Stream I tend to play a little bit aimlessly at the moment. I've got 3, this map and Old Stream we're using similar size of equipment, although this map's predominantly grass and Old Stream is predominantly arable. But even so, it's kind of, I'm not doing anything different on that map. So I may look at a different map and see if something takes my fancy. Mercury, that was another game I was progressing over the weekend with no internet. And I've pulled probably another day out of that. I sold all of the harvest for about 100,000. We made 90,000 litres of potatoes and planted 2. So that's kind of coming along. But I'm now at the point on that one where I'm expanding the fields. So we're not looking at tiny fields. We're knocking down fences. Ploughing up the middle and combining the fields, so much so that at the end of the planting, after the harvest, I ended up selling all the planters except the potato planter, because that's as big as it gets, so that we can start working our way up to 6-metre equipment. That's fine. this is kind of very much what I used to do in Farm Sim 17 before I got a PC that could support recording. I just do what I'm doing here, which is basically driving around doing stuff while watching somebody else stream or somebody else's YouTube videos. I don't have to talk about Farm Sim, I can carry on a conversation about anything really. So, time, so I might have to break off and start. That instead. I'm almost done, you can start if you like. I'm driving that one, but the next thing's the windmill. Huh? Yeah, we're making hay instead of silage. I'm not sure, but I think we're making hay instead of silage. Yeah, try it with the tedder and bale it. So we're making hay. We're making dry grass. Oh. No, the next thing after that is run the windmill round so that we have rows. So the baling is quicker. Yep, and it dries it out. So in real life you would have cut the grass, leave it to dry. Should be, if it's turning a lighter shade of green, then you'll get me. But yeah, you leave it to dry and then you... Oh. Okay, well that makes a difference. But yeah, that tosses it around so that the other side gets to dry. So you end up with dry grass so it doesn't rot. Grass starts rotting, it gets hot, and then it catches fire, and then that's bad. Some other viewers who haven't announced themselves. They'll team for the weekend. He's probably sulking because I didn't do any law folds over the weekend. Take this back and we'll get the wind rail. And slow down, don't crash into the barrier. Bought a camera, yeah, we bought a spy camera and connected it up to our phones, which is why they keep beeping. So unfortunately it develops more false positives than actual hits. It's kind of useful because it helps with not getting the wrong child into trouble. Which turns out is an issue. Could have done with it a month or two ago before we had to slap locks on half the cabinets in the kitchen and a padlock on the fridge and what have you. So I'm fairly certain some kids got in trouble that probably shouldn't have got in trouble because they weren't the instigators of the misbehaviour. Hi horses. About right, that'll do. Lovely structures. That's okay. So yeah, not very many viewers yesterday. We did get, we replaced the cedar with the the Stara 3.6 metre cedar. While it's narrower than the 4 metre Amazon we had, it does carry fertiliser and it does cultivate, so from now onwards we won't be needing to plough the fields before we replant them, which I think is a benefit. And while it's only 3.6 metres wide, the fact that it does 3 jobs is beneficial. We'll keep the plough anyway, because it's useful for creating fields and ploughing the fields that need it as we buy them. And obviously we have to keep this spreader for the second round of fertilisation and for fertilising the grass. Somewhere here, right here. And then we bought 4 more cows, so we now have 8. Not that I'm worried about milk production right this minute, because we don't have a milk wagon, and we also don't have food mixer yet. So we're just feeding the cows with hay.